Hey, what's up, guys? Mr. Cruz here to show you guys all about order of operations. This is also called evaluating expressions, but evaluating expressions, that is just like a trash word and it's just something fancy to make it seem like people are smarter than what they really are. But all this really is order of operations. So let's go ahead and get to it. And this one, we're actually going to be doing it with variables. So that's kind of what makes the whole thing like a lot fancier than people think. So I told you guys before that Mr. Cruz does not do PEMDAS. Mr. Cruz does GEMDAS. GEMDAS is different, and in this case, the G stands for grouping because there's more than just parentheses. When we talk about PEMDAS, that's what the P stands for, right? It stands for parentheses. But there's more than just that. There's parentheses, there's brackets, there's absolute value bars. Sometimes there's big division bars. So there are a couple of different things that we would have to do whenever we're doing order of operations that we would have to do first before we touch anything else. So, Mr. Cruz, you're going to hear him saying GEMDAS and not PEMDAS. But here is technically the category because we only really have four. So, we do our groupings first. Next, we do our exponents and square roots. When we do our exponents and square roots, we're technically doing them left to right. All right. Same thing with multiplying and dividing. You'll notice that multiplying and dividing are both together. If you learn PEMDAS before, you might have learned that you do multiplication before you do division. That's not always true. You actually do it in the order that they appear in as you're going left to right. So if I'm working on a problem and there's multiplication first and then the division, I would do, actually, wait, no, let me reverse that. If you come across division first and then multiplication, you would do the division first, even though the D comes after M in GEMDAS. The same thing with addition and subtraction. You're doing them in order from left to right. So don't get confused and think that you only do subtraction all the way at the end, because if you do that, you're going to end up getting the questions wrong, and then you're going to, get frustrated, and I'm going to get frustrated. So here you go. Let's go ahead and get to it with GEMDAS. Here we have 4x minus 2m, or I would say 4 times x minus 2 times m. Now, remember what it means whenever we see numbers and letters attached together like this, right? Give you a second to think about it. Okay, you should have answered that it means that they are being multiplied. So when we make our substitutions, this is what it should look like right here, right? Because according to my previous slide, x is 8 and m is 3. So I'm going to substitute. I'm going to make those substitutions first, and then I can proceed with doing GEMDAS. So see, G, E, we have no groupings. We have no exponents or square roots. We do have multiplication. So we're going to do multiplication left to right. So 4 times 8, that should give me 32. So 32 minus 2, I'm going to put a dot here instead of the parentheses, times 3. So now I can do 2 times 3. 2 times 3 is going to give me 6. So 32 minus 6. Oh, well, why did I put 6 there, though? Come on, Cruz. 32 minus 6. And then 32 minus 6, that is going to give me 26. Would that be right? 36, 32, 31, 30, 29, 28, 27, 26. Yeah, okay. 26. So then my final answer here should be 26. Let's go, gang, gang. All right. Next one. That one was pretty easy. Let's go on to the next one. All right. Dang, Mr. Cruz, already you hitting us with a hard one? I have to keep y'all on your toes. All right, so n times x times y divided by m. Let's do all of our substitutions. The funky thing is that n right here is equal to 3/4. So we're actually going to be working with a fraction on this one. All right, good thing y'all got y'all calculators, right? Or at least good thing that y'all remember what 3/4 is as a decimal so that you can punch it into your calculator real quick. All right, glad to know y'all don't pay attention. All right, here we go. So 3/4 times 8 times 6 divided by 3. We're going to do this all in order from left to right. So the first thing I'm going to do is 3/4 times 8. So 3/4 times 8, I know that's going to be 6. So I'm going to have, this time I am going to put in parentheses. That dot looked like a decimal, and I don't want to get confused. So now I've got 6 times 6 divided by 3. And next up, I'm going to do 6 times 6. 6 times 6 equals 36. So now I got 36 divided by 3, and 36 divided by 3 is going to give me 12. You'll notice that the way that I'm doing it, this is the way that if you struggle, actually, not even if you struggle. This is the way that I want you to do it. So if you are working on something and then you say, Mr. Cruz, come over here, can you help me? This is what I'm going to be looking for, because this is going to show me what you did at each single step. I'm underlining each operation, and that's going to show me on the next step, right, the next level, where I got my answers from or how I got those answers. This is what I'm going to be looking for whenever I come to you or whenever you ask me for help. And if I don't see this, I'm not going to help you. I'm going to say, do it again, and then show me your underlines, because that means for me, it's easy for me to follow. I don't want to be guessing where you went wrong. This is going to help me see quickly where you went wrong if you ended up getting answers wrong. But in the end, this is what my answer here should be. It should be 12. All right, next one. This says try it on your own, but we're going to do it together. All right. So you might have previously learned something called the distributive property. What the distributive property means is that we're going to take whatever's on the outside of the parentheses, and I'm going to distribute it to every single term that's inside of the parentheses. Actually, let me undo that one because that one kind of came out messed up. So I would do 2 times n times y, right? Because this is a term by itself. They're together, but this is a single term. And then I would do 2 times x. That's what we would have learned when we learned about the distributive property. That's fine and dandy, but we are going to make our substitutions first. All right, before we do any of that, we're going to do our substitutions. So I'm going to substitute n, y, and x. So let me rewrite this with my substitutions in place. N equals 3/4. Bam. Oh, this is going to be wild. 3/4 times, I'm going to put a multiplication symbol on this one. Y is 6 times 6 plus x equals 8. Wow, that 8 is gigantic. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is 3/4 times 6. So let me actually do this on my calculator off to the side. All right, that gives me 4.5. So now I have 2, and let me underline it. 4.5 or 4.5 plus 8. All right, next up, 4.5 plus 8. Because again, I got to do my gem dots. I got to do everything that's inside of the parentheses first. And if there's operations taking place inside of the parentheses, I'm still following the order of operations. So I did multiplication first. Now I'm doing addition. So 4.5 plus 8 gives me 12.5. So now I have 12.5 inside of my parentheses. And now that we're down to the last of the parentheses, all I'm going to do is multiply, right? Because they're next to each other, essentially. So 2 times 12.5. And that's going to give me 25 as my final answer. See? Should be light work. Should be light work. All right. This last one, let's get it. All right. Notice that this time we have our variable on the other side of the parentheses. It still doesn't matter. We're still going to do the same process. We're going to make our substitutions first. So here we go. So 6, and this time it's going to be p. So 6 times 1/2. I already know what that one's going to be off the top of the dome. Why? Because your boy is a goat. Plus 8. If I could keep this stuff like somewhere in the middle of like on some sort of line, like horizon, that would be great. So this right here, 6 times 1/2, that's going to give me 3. So now I've got 3 plus 8 times 3/4. Oh, well, on the outside of the sum of 3 and 8 plus 3/4. So 3 plus 8, 8, 9, 10, 11. So now I have 11 times 3/4. I hope y'all understand how hard it is to do this with a mouse, because it is unbelievably difficult. Times 3/4. And then my final answer should be 8.25 or 8 1/4. If we want to be fancy with it. All right. there you guys go. It is ridiculously easy, super simple. Y'all should be able to get this, no problem. Hit me up if y'all need some help. Peace.